Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Folks, I bet you didn't know that Martin Luther King probably did more for the blacks than Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going to get into that there, folks. First of all, I would like to thank, I don't know who it was, but it was Pavement Production Inc. for hitting my PayPal, sending me money there. Okay. For those of you who don't know, you can go to my PayPal. It's right in my profile there. And I want to thank everybody that's hit that thanks button. Folks, please subscribe, like, and share. Well, let's get into this, folks, because today is a holiday. It's not just for the blacks like a lot of people think. This is a national holiday for everybody in the United States. It's a day to be celebrated because of all that Martin Luther King did, and he should be honored for everything he did. And Agent Orange, thank you, my friend, for being here. Let's get into some facts. Who is Martin Luther King? Because a lot of people really don't know who he is or what he did. And I'm going to get into it. So folks, please listen to this in its entirety. You're going to want to hear how when us Italians came over, they had us with the blacks. Yes, we did. Diamond, there's Diamond. How are you? Thank you, Diamond. Another one who hit my thanks button. Correct, Diamond? You're the one, right? Diamond Kelly. Yes, she is. She hit the my PayPal. Okay? So, folks, Martin Luther King was born January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was assassinated April 4th, 1968, at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. He was assassinated. His wife was Coretta King. She passed away in 1968. His children, Bernice King, Yolanda King, Dexter King, and Martin King III. He had siblings, Christine King, Ferris, A.D. King, grandchildren. He was educated at the Crozer Theological Seminary, 1948 to 1951. Early education. There's my friend Nancy. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for coming. There's 5 facts that people don't know about Martin Luther King. Very smart guy. Early education and name change. He skipped grades and started college. Get this? At the age of 15. Entering Morehouse College and, thank you, Cody, for hitting that thanks button. I appreciate it. And was born Michael King Jr., but he and his father adopted the name Martin Luther after the German reformer. Nobel Peace Prize. He won the Nobel Peace Prize, folks. He won it. Not like Trump didn't win it, okay, and that woman in Venezuela, I gave him hers. All right, give me a break, Donald Trump, okay? And he accepted it. He accepted the Nobel. Martin Luther King got it on his own. Numerous arrests. Throughout his activism, King was arrested 29 times for civil obedience and other charges, including traffic violation. 1958, a woman stabbed him with a letter opener, narrowly missing his heart, an event that he survived. His birthday is now a national holiday in the United States, and he is one of only two Americans, the other being George Washington, to have this honor with a memorial in Washington, D.C. Folks, this guy was amazing. 15 years, and he was in college. 15 years old. What this guy did for this country was great, and people should, okay? You know, there's a lot of things people don't know. I do my research. I never knew about racism, folks. I was born in New York, Rome, New York. We people in the East Coast, we were never racist. And we always got along with the blacks. But other parts of the country, particularly the South, who am I, Nancy, what do you mean by that question? Who are you asking? You talking to me? Let me give you some information. Well, there we go. Italians came to the U.S. in large waves, primarily between 1880 and 1924, with over 4 million arriving, mostly fleeing poverty in southern Italy and Sicily. They often faced discrimination, sometimes being seen as racially inferior and even lynched, while also working alongside black laborers in the post-slavery South, creating complex racial dynamics and sometimes new forms of servitude, like in Louisiana. In the 1880s and 1920s, a large influx happened from the 1880s to World War I, with a huge surge in the 1900s, over 2 million. The largest wave of immigration occurred. I want you to listen to this, folks, because I'm getting to the important part here. The largest waves of Italian immigration occurred between 1880 and 1924, during which more than 4 million arrived. Regarding the relationship with the black community, particularly in the American South, historical records show significant interaction and shared experiences of marginalization with the blacks. Labor replacement. After the Civil War, Southern plantation owners recruited Italian immigrants, mainly from Sicily, to replace free black labor on sugar and cotton plantations. Italians often worked in the same brutal conditions to replace free black labor. Italians often worked in the same brutal conditions as African Americans, facing low wages and debt peonage. Because of this, they were often viewed as not fully white by the established white society, and were sometimes segregated into the same neighborhoods and schools as black people. In places like New Orleans, Italian immigrants lived in close proximity to the black community, often fraternizing, intermarrying, and collaborating in cultural areas such as music, which contributed to the early development of jazz. Folks, you've heard me talk about it before. Okay? We were segregated, us Italians, when we came to this country. All right? They called us wops. They called us guineas. We weren't allowed in certain parts of certain areas of towns. We were segregated again, folks. Okay? Who were we? Well, why did we come here? We saw economic opportunity, escaping poverty, political instability, and natural disasters in southern Italy. Same as what's happening right now here in the United States. Folks, if you haven't subscribed, please help me out, okay, in any way that you can. Hit that like button, okay? People are very lazy and don't like to hit that like button. I talked about it before, my friend, what I think about Donald Trump, all right? Most were poor, unskilled laborers from the agricultural south of Italy. Many were birds of passage, single men intending to return to Italy, though many stayed and built communities. Sound a little familiar with like the Mexicans trying to come over, make money, send it back to Italy, and help their families out. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing illegal. All right? Almost every ethnic group came over. But the Italians were right there with the blacks. I grew up with blacks. They were right in my neighborhood. That's the way it was. I never knew racism. So I don't have a racist bone in my body. I can walk in any area in the country I want to, and I don't have a problem. All right? Italians face harsh racism, being seen as racially distinct and inferior, leading to violence and lynching. In New Orleans in 1891, they lynched. The citizens broke into the prison and lynched 11 Italian immigrants. That's an entire story that I should do at some other time. Okay? Hi, Ivan, neck owner, Jake. All right? And post-slavery South Park planner recruited an Italian immigrant, particularly Sicilian, to work the fields. You see the closeness there, folks? Okay? You know, I'm going to tell you something. At the age of 18, I joined the United States Army. All right? I got my basic training was in Fort Gordon, Georgia, right outside of Austin. And folks, my bunkie was a black guy named Walker. One of the nicest guys you ever wanted to meet. All right? Great guy. In the 7th week of basic training, our commander gave us one night, it was a Saturday night, and allowed us to go into town to do what we wanted. There were 4 of us, 3 white guys and Walker. We were all in our uniforms. And we went to go to this, we found a restaurant that we wanted to go to. And when we started walking in, boom, we were stopped. They told us Walker could not come in that door. He had to go in another door. Me, I stand up for my friends no matter who you are. Huh? I stood up for him. I almost got in a fight when Walker grabbed me. And he says, Ori, I'll go in that door. I'll sit in that booth there. They had ropes dividing the restaurant right in half, and it divided one row of booths, okay? And although he was at the same booth as we were, he was still on the other side of the ropes, in the same uniform, all right? A guy, a man that was going to defend our country, to keep our country safe, and they do this. And that's when I learned more about these things, and I learned it when I got down south, okay? Us New York guys, we always hung out with the blacks. Folks, I don't care who you are. You're white, you're black, you're Chinese, Mexican, German, no matter what you are. If you cut yourself, your blood is red. We are the same. When are we going to stop all this bullshit in this country and all the division that's only getting worse each and every day? I don't know what happened, folks. I froze up there. Somebody do something to me there? All right, folks. I got more for you. The Italian Mafia. We went up against the Ku Klux Klan. They were scared shitless of us guys. Not me, I was too young, okay? But I want to tell you some of the things. We went up against the Ku Klux Klan for the blacks, and we defended them. If people don't know about that. Nobody studies history anymore, okay? And I wish they did. Well, the mafia is not typically associated with civil rights activism. We don't do that, okay? Historical accounts and FBI records show that in the 1960s, a prominent mobster used mafia-style tactics to intimidate Ku Klux Klan members and uncover information on crimes against Black Americans and civil rights workers. Here is what the mafia did, specifically involving Colombo family mobster Gregory Scarpa Sr. in Mississippi. What Gregory Scarpa did, and the FBI had him. They brought him from New York to Mississippi. And they found one guy that owned white guy owned a television store. He sold TVs. So Gregory went to that store, bought a TV, and asked the guy to help him carry it out and put it in the trunk of his car, which the guy did. When they opened the trunk, Greg threw the guy in the trunk, and he drove out to an isolated field. You remember, the FBI are following him. They got him wired up. They're hearing everything. All right? At the behest, well, this, at the behest of the FBI, which was struggling to find three missing civil rights workers, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schooner. New York City Master Gregory Scarpa, the Grim Reaper, was brought to Mississippi. All right. Gregory was recruited by the FBI to assist in the investigation of the January 10th, 1966 fire bombings of NAACP leader Vernon Dahmer Sr. in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Scarpa used his interrogation tactics against local Klansmen to break the case. Unlike local authorities, who were often in league with the Klan, Scarpa used pistol whipping and other violent coercion techniques that federal agents could not legally use to force the Klan members to disclose. Okay, I know what he did, and I got to tell you this here. All right, he had the guy, took him out to a field, tied him up, took the guy's pants off, got a hold of his, whatever you want to call it, I guess I can't say it here. All right? And sliced it. Yeah. That guy yelled so hard. The FBI were down the road in their car listening. They had to take that off. This guy screamed so loud. He got the information, okay, that they needed. You hate me? Cozy? I don't like people who hate anybody, okay? So you know what? I think hate people who hate, don't come here, okay? I don't hate nobody. Another historical thing. In the 1920s, a group often associated with Italian immigrants called the Knights of the Flaming Circle arose in southern Illinois to actively fight the KKK. See, folks, we've been there. We're not racial. But people down in the South, a lot of them still are, okay? I want to thank you folks for all your wonderful comments. I want to thank the young man that hit that thanks button. You had no idea how much that does help me, okay? Thank you all. I bring facts to you. I bring you the truth. I don't have 1 million subscribers because I tell the truth. If you notice, okay, and you go through YouTube, the people who lie the most, people love them. People want to listen to lies. They want to listen to conspiracy theory. And they want to divide this country. Just like I believe somebody asked me what I think of Donald Trump. I voted for him like I tell you. I'm very open about that. Okay? And but I don't like what he's doing. Because he's not doing what he said he was going to do when he ran for office. This thing of taking over Venezuela, now he wants Greenland. He's trying to break NATO and get out of NATO, all right? You got a hug, Itchy. I wanted Trump to do what he said to do. Because if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I keep my word. But our politicians don't. And this one, all he did, he drained the swamp with the Democrats and filled it with the Republicans. Not doing nothing for you. All right? And now he calls it affordability. Bullshit affordability. All right? Look at here, folks. Look at here. Let's see what his favorability ratings are. Okay? On immigration, 38% approve, 61% disapprove. On the economy, 37% approve, 62% disapprove. Is foreign policy, 37% approve, 61% disapprove. Venezuela, 41% approve, 57% disapprove. There you have it, folks. His ratings are in, I think his personal rating is at 42, lowest it's ever been. Okay? And go back to Martin Luther King. I Googled it. I told you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was widely regarded as the most influential leader of the modern civil rights movement. King led non-violent protests, including the Montgomery bus boycott and the 1963 March on Washington. Remember that? Which pressured the government to end legal segregation. His name comes before Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, 1809 to 1865, often cited for issuing the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which only began the legal process of ending slavery for millions of African Americans. And then next is Thurgood Marshall. As a lawyer for the NAACP, he led the legal fight against segregation, culminating in the landmark Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. Those are the three top people, folks. Okay? I'm sure there's ever, all right? Somebody say, I speak myself, okay? Some people are just so stupid, so ignorant, and have so much hatred. They belong to Washington, okay, because that's where it all begins, all right? Everybody else understands me. You can't understand me, all right? And I'm for you to take up the time, all right? So, folks, please subscribe, like, share, do all those things. All right? And folks, I wrote a book. Being made into a movie, it should be closing pretty soon. You don't want to send me money? You don't want to hit that thanks button? You don't want to put money in my PayPal? Purchase my book. Because you might learn something. And you know, a lot of people don't read. A lot of people don't write. All right? Oh, some young man just 18 years old there. Folks, tomorrow's Tuesday. Tomorrow I'm going to do a show on education. A lot of people ask me if college is necessary. It's not. More Gen Z young people are going to trade schools, and they're making more money than kids that going to college. I'm going to do a show on that tomorrow. All right, folks. You know, I try to keep my shows here 30, 40 minutes so people listen. All right? So I will be scheduling tomorrow's show. You're going to want to see it and get any young people that you might know to try to come tomorrow. I'll be doing it either 10 or 11 a.m. I'm not sure yet. All right? But just look at it, put your notifications, and folks, remember what this day is about. Remember who Martin Luther King was. And for those of you who don't know, study, okay? Learn, read, and listen. As I always say, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's to do twice as much listening than talking. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. I love you all. All my love and respect to you all. Take care.